What's up, guys? I'm here with Brian Nels here, and we're gonna be talking about relationships. With kids our age. We're both 17 years old. This man over here is gonna be turning 18 next month. So we thought it was a good idea to start a podcast to sort of guide the youth, um, especially young male teenagers who have experienced different experiences with finding love, and let's be honest, you're not going to find it. And so in simple, we're in short, we're going to explain our own experiences and give advices. And throughout, we're going to do more episodes in this. We're going to see if you guys ask questions, we're going to answer them. And so
Talking on my shit like I'm mixed with Spanish. Ran through my life, man, I took it for granted. Yeah.
we're going to start with the beginning. So I met this dude in middle school, sixth grade. uh so we were just I we just we became friends sixth grade, and then eighth grade we just became like best friends, like close. And so we had different experiences with relationships, very different. And I think that kind of helps us with this podcast, is being able to talk about two different sides. In a way, me and him are two different types of people when it comes to relationships and trying to get with girls. Can you attest to that, Brian? Can you?
Yeah, yeah. No, we definitely are. I mean, when it comes to our type and like the type of girl we're looking for, it's completely different.
Yeah, no,
Completely
it is. No, it is. And it's funny because, like, I'll see a girl and he'll be like, nah, she's not really cute. And I'll think she's like a 10 out of 10. He's like, nah, she's okay. And I would like, oh, she's bad. So, I mean, we're complete opposites, but we're like brothers, essentially. And that we don't let that kind of get into that. And we do have a certain situation that did happen in high school a couple years ago, but we'll talk about that another time. We're gonna start in middle school, sixth grade. We're not gonna name any names in certain situations. We're just gonna, I guess, use fake names. Is that okay with you, Brian? We're not gonna use real names.
yeah.
All right. So wow, sixth grade. I remember, as it was not not a lot I remember, but I do know that, in sixth grade, um it was that time where everybody was like, you dated for 2 weeks and you said, oh my gosh, I love him, or I love her. And am I wrong? Is that what
Oh, no, not at all.
is middle school was like that? It's like those little relationships you think are gonna last and they don't. And it's kind of similar with high school. I think middle school, you're not. I'll keep it a bug with you. Out of a hundred couples in middle school, I would say a solid like 2% will last into high school. And we're not saying, okay, it's gonna work out all through high school. That's even a smaller percentage. Um, I think that middle school is not. I think it's a learning experience. I think it is okay to be in relationship in middle school. I just don't kind of push yourself in that, like, I'm gonna marry you type phase. You know what I mean? Like, you, like, have fun, but not too much fun. Um, I can just dive right in. Brian, do you have a experience in middle school where you feel like I'll leave it sixth or eighth grade that you feel like they should know?
Well, I mean, or you'd obviously know, but with me being the new kid in the school, coming in sixth grade, I didn't really know much. I was just still like a little kid then, and I'd say halfway into the year, you know, I I was kind of like put with this girl somewhat,
Yeah.
and like I didn't even know what was going on. Like I guess someone just said something, and then it all just happened, and then I was just like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I was just like, it's became someone my first girlfriend in sixth grade. She was a grade above me, and
Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
yeah,
And those of you who don't know, our our middle school was elementary, so there's kids from like K through 5. We all knew each other, and I went there in third grade, so I already had been there. And in sixth grade, he came, and so he kind of had to adjust where I had already had had that adjustment period. But I was in third grade. I'm not gonna have a girlfriend in third grade, but I did have. I'll talk about it. I'm gonna let him finish and let him explain his story, and then I'll explain my side.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? When that all started, I was just like a little kid, acting like I don't know, almost like childish in a relationship. I didn't really know what was going on most of the time, and then I didn't even have an iPhone or anything at the time. All I had was a tablet.
Now I
And
remember that.
no, I remember, like, when I used to talk to this girl on the phone, I used to use Skype on my phone. Like, that's just how it was back then. And, even like after what? Like, I think the closest thing we ever did was like hug. That's it.
Yeah, in
And
middle school, it's a big deal when you kiss. We all can attest to that. It's a big deal when you kiss, and it's awkward. I think at that point it's very awkward, and having a phone plays a huge role. I got my first phone in fourth grade, so I already knew about, like, back then we had Kick. Kick was like very popular in middle school. Our generation can attest to that too. We never really used Snapchat. Snapchat became big in high school. I remember I would say like that, like the summer before ninth grade, I believe. So having a phone played a huge role. And when you're trying to have like a relationship, it's very hard when you don't have a phone. You had a tablet, but at the same time, I had a different experience with I had a phone and I can just dive right in third grade. I met this beautiful girl. I mean beautiful girl. And a lot of people knew I had a crush on her. It was pretty clear. And unfortunately she had moved in fifth grade. So I knew her for 2 years. And I was the last day, I regret it. I was just mad. Like she was handing out cookies to everybody. I was mad. I'm like, you're leaving. And one of the things she told me was, James, I'll never forget about you. Which at the time, that fifth grade me was like, oh, wow, this girl really, really, like, probably likes me. And we used to FaceTime all the time. So it was like, it wasn't like, oh, you're trying to shoot your shot with a girl who's not even interested in you. No, we FaceTime a lot. And having a phone during that time changes everything. You're in school, you don't have really you're either too nervous or don't have time to have that relationship. So I say it's very hard in elementary and middle school to maintain it, and it's definitely hard when you don't have a phone. And that's why me and his experience are so different in middle school, and it continued up until high school. But finish out what you said about that girl. How did that go and how did that end?
Or, like I said, I was just a clueless kid, but I was still wearing striped pajamas when I was in sixth grade, and I was everything was just like a little kid's fantasy or something.
Right, right.
And even with this girlfriend, I was like, like I understood the concept of what it meant, but I wouldn't say I was truly into it. And then I realized this girl was talking to other guys while I was dating her, and and apparently like she broke up with me or something the next day. Like her friends cheated on me, and with a kid in the school, and it just all went just berserk. And but the funny part is, like, I kind of gained a small following. Like, kids started to like know me, even the kids in the higher grades.
Yeah,
All
and she was popular. I'm not even gonna lie. She was kind of popular. So for me, it was like, did he just get her? Like, I was just like, and I found out that they had that she had cheated, and I can't say I was surprised. I wasn't surprised. I can't say that I wasn't. But at the same time, I was like, oh, this is my friend. You know what I'm saying? And I feel bad for him, and it's his first relationship. I wouldn't even call it a first relationship, a first middle school thing. And so I know how that ended and how that went. Uh but like I said, middle school we only had recess and she was a grade above him. So the only time you're gonna see your, I guess, significant other is at recess. And so and then at lunch you could only sit with your class. So it's pretty hard. Like I said, having a phone plays a prominent role, and the stuff that you're exposed to at that age, it was a lot. And unfortunately, like for me, I won't even lie, I fell victim to that, of all the bad things on the internet, all the bad things with Kick, Instagram. Like I fell victim to that. And so I in a way, like I'm glad Brian didn't have to see that. And in high school, I think middle school was, it was it was something. And after, my crush left, I ended up dating. I wouldn't even say dating, but and Brian can agree with this too. I just started like having flings, if that's what you can call it. And so they weren't real relationships, but they were something. And so, like I said, she was something that, I really liked her. And that was probably the last times I've ever really focused on one girl at one given time. I had put my full attention to, had not talked to any other girl. And fortunately, after she left, it kind of hurt, and then it left an impression on me. And so, as I could say, as like a first piece of advice, if if you were if you really like this girl in middle school, and you think, okay, um, she may not like me, or blah blah blah, don't let that one thing affect your life, is all I can say. And you want to take time for yourself. That's a big part, and that I never did. I even still to this day take time to myself. Brian can attest. I'm always talking about a girl, and he'll talk about one girl once in a blue moon, maybe once half a year, maybe once a year. He's more dedicated and devoted than I am. So, and at certain points, I get bored. It sucks that I get bored. And so it is hard. I had great relationships. I'm going to talk about that I messed up, and I had relationships that just didn't work out well. And so, middle school was crazy. It was a weird couple years. It really was, in terms of that.
Yeah,
So
and even to add one more thing into like middle school relationships, and even with that girl who I was technically dating, at the same time there was this other girl who really liked me, like really and truly.
she was new
And
too, right? Or she came in seventh, sixth grade, right? Same year as
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, same year as me. And I mean the funny part about it is, back then it just seemed like I'll just say this, like, it doesn't really matter anymore. But I technically only liked the girl who I was technically dating because she had blonde hair, or like she dyed her hair blonde. And that little factor, I remember. And this other girl, she liked me, and I kind of rejected her love because I like the other girl because of her hair. And I feel like that's one mistake I made, that I feel like I didn't, then me and that other girl would have had a stronger relationship through middle school. And go ahead.
And it's funny because I actually liked that girl. The girl that he liked, the girl that liked him, I really liked her, and she pretty much dubbed me, pretty much. And so I was kind of like, wow. And then she likes him, so it's kind of hard because like he's your new friend, and you want to stay friends with him, but never, ever, ever in your life, don't ruin a good friendship over a single girl. Because at the end of the day, it didn't even work out for him with her. At the end of the day, it didn't.
And it's just like, well, and then that experience goes along with you, and what happened with one of your recent friends. But we'll save that for another time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's crazy when you feel like, wow, so the girl that you like actually likes your friend. And so at the time, I really didn't know it. I would say like seventh, eighth grade, I started realizing, and I had moved on to another girl. My type was actually a white and Hispanic girl, so this girl was Hispanic. He knows what I'm talking about. They still go to the same school, unfortunately. We don't go to the same school anymore, but that was probably the second girl I liked the most, because you gotta think, in middle school you only know a certain amount of people. So you're so insisted on the same type of girls all in order. And in middle school, and Brian, you can attest to this too. Girls would date the same type of guys. You know, there was a guy, I'm not gonna name his name, and I'm gonna start talking about him. And you're gonna know who I'm talking about, who was popular, played basketball, and had very curly hair. I think you know who I'm talking about. And like girls would like those type of guys. And he was obnoxious. And you gotta remember he's in middle school, but he was obnoxious, he was mean. And so, and you have guys like me and Brian. Me and Brian are genuinely nice guys. When I feel like we nice guys, and I'm sorry to put this to you guys, nice guys, and it's true, finish last. And I noticed as in high school, girls want toward more like aggressive guys, and I've never really been aggressive and towards interjection that wasn't who I was, and Brian
But
isn't either.
you see, the one thing is, in terms of aggression, even now, my form of aggression isn't really aggression. Well, I'm a power lifter, but
Yeah,
like I'm like a soft-hearted power lifter in a
yeah.
sense.
He and somebody told me like, "Oh, James, you're not aggressive enough." So I'm like, I gotta be. Hold on. So I have to figure out how to be a gentleman, but at the same time assert my dot. To me, I would say this: never change who you are because of what a girl wants. Because I'm gonna tell you this right now: I'd rather live my life alone than be myself than live the rest of my life with a girl being who I'm not. And it's a bold statement to say that. And it's like I don't want to be somebody I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like I've tried to be aggressive with the last like and it kind of became a part of me, but at the end of the day, don't be who you're not. It just won't work out and you're ultimately not going to be happy. And you might turn into a worse person than what you are now.
And I mean, no matter how much you want to be yourself and how much a girl rejects that, in which you may not even get a girlfriend because you act yourself at all, even still, it's better to be yourself and enjoy your own life
Right, yeah.
than having to change your attitude for a girl.
Yeah, I'll I'll tell you this in middle school. If I could restart, I would. If I could go my whole life till college until I find a girl, I would. And the thing is, I've made so many mistakes, but at the end of the day, I learned so many lessons, and I learned from my mistakes. Be yourself. Wait until you are in college, if you can, to date, because that should be the time where you find yourself from 6th to 11th, 12th grade is where you find yourself. Because 11th and 12th grade, you find out what you want to do in life when you go into college. That should be the time where you find yourself. And that applies to everyone. Go and take time to apply yourself. You know, do things that you want to do. You don't have to focus on relationship. That's the best advice I can give as like in this first like little episode is that's the best advice I can give. You don't you want to wait and I like the reason why like I love Brian, he's my brother, is he makes the choices that I wish I made. Or like he's the type of person I wish I was when it came towards relationships. And you could kind of give an overview of like what your relationships were and how like how I guess like just give an overview of the past flings you have and what you learned from all of them.
Now, I mean, one thing is, when you say like waiting for a relationship or being patient, like that brings me back to an experience I had. I waited a year and a half
We
for a
got
girl.
we got to save that for the next episode because that is probably a good story. Um no, like I said, yeah, waiting, but I mean in terms of when you're ready. And don't and I hate to say this, but don't wait for somebody. I've done that multiple experiences. It just doesn't work. And I told he's not only the person that I had told in that situation. I told my other friend and we lost touch. I cut him off because of a girl and I had warned and I warned him as well. And this is why I think like when it comes to love, like I know like for my friends when it's not right and when it is. Like I warned him I won both of them, and at the end of the day, I was right. And so I don't want to say that there's some of my friends and I got their back, but I don't blame them for taking that experience for themselves because that's the only way people are really going to take that in is if they experience it themselves. And I'm glad he experienced that, and we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I mean, anything you like to add on with that?
I mean, like you said, save for the next episode.
Yeah,
But yeah, overall, just be patient. I mean, personally, for me, I'm just gonna wait till college now.
yeah,
I've done all I can. I got accepted to my college. I go to college next year.
yeah. Me too. And it's funny. We just had an experience last week. And we're gonna talk about that too, or why he's waiting till college, and we'll tell you that too. Like I said, yeah, if you could wait till college, find yourself then. Don't wait until you're going to college to find yourself because now you're stuck. So, oh, you should wait those years. Is the best advice I can give. And that this may be our first episode, but I will get more detailed, more stories as we go along. But that's just how we feel. And I mean, I, no, the reason why I'm doing this is nobody else is doing it. Like, I wish I could guide some people and give them advice, and I do that all the time with my friends. And it's like, I want to help. I want to help people, especially um young guys. Going into middle school, going into high school. And we keep it PG as much as we can. We're not gonna. We want this to be for everybody. So, uh, any closing things for you, Mr. Nose?
I think I've pretty much said everything for this episode. So
Well, there it is, guys. Thank you for watching our first episode, versus very episode. Um, I like to thank Brian for being here. He's my co-host. He's gonna be here for every single episode. I hope he'll come back. Uh, and like I said, make sure you guys ask questions if you need to on specific experiences or situations that you're in. We're gonna try to get you the best. We're gonna try to drop these maybe like weekly, once a week. If it's a situation that needs to be answered, me or Brian will, answer the question before we end the episode because we feel like it's too much time in between. Especially if you ask right after the episode, we don't want you to wait the week. We'll tell you. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you for taking the time to watch and be safe, stay blessed and keep it moving.